Joining me now, great pleasure, a dear friend, Tennessee Senator Bill Hagerty, former colleague in the Trump administration. Senator Hagerty, welcome. Let's talk a few bits about this new Trump social thing, because I think its impact is probably underestimated by people. I mean, all these startup firms lose money in the beginning. That's not troublesome. But this gives conservatives a social media platform of free speech. They can discuss conservative issues without getting hammered by lefties, you know, without like Google and its woke AI experiment, these kinds of things. What do you make of this phenomenon?
Well, I think they also know they won't get hammered by censorship, which we've seen at really disturbing levels here in the United States, particularly on social media. So I think the platform does offer something very interesting. I haven't done an analysis of this, but I would say this: the pop that it received today underscores to me that the American public are behind President Trump. They see the potential in him and his future and what he's willing to put his name on.
I think you're exactly right. And I think it's going to create a community, conservative community, for social media, because there really is no particular home for that right now. I mean, Twitter may be improved, certainly not Facebook, certainly not Google. I think there's a lot of others that aren't also. Let me ask you this. Trump on the issues. Are you happy with him on the issues? Are you satisfied? He's polling very well. He's hammered away, of course, on the border, which some polls now show to be the #1 issue, even more important than inflation. Is he making his issues case amidst all these legal troubles?
Well, he certainly is, and he can continue to do that because Joe Biden is providing an incredible backdrop for President Trump to talk about issues and policies that worked. We've already seen it before. We had the most secure border that we've seen under President Trump, and with 94 executive orders in his first 100 days, Joe Biden tore it all apart. Now we have a catastrophe that everyone sees this catastrophe in America at our southern border. Frankly, our adversaries around the world see it too. They're pumping people in here right, left, and center. We don't know who these people are, but we have precipitated, I should say, the Biden administration has precipitated the greatest national security crisis I think we've ever faced, Larry. And you know, we're just very deeply concerned about what may happen. But Biden has done this, as we saw President Trump mention just a few minutes ago. The situation in Afghanistan was an incredible disgrace. We've basically found ourselves now in two hot wars, in the Middle East and in Ukraine. That was not the case under Donald Trump. We stood strong as a nation. He built a strong economy here that allowed us to build a strong posture militarily and diplomatically around the world. We were respected under President Trump, and we will be again. I think he can make that case very clearly to the
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but you've tried to stop the funding for these air flights of illegals into the country. I don't know how far you got with that, but I think that was an issue that you were pushing.
We got right up to the edge of a government shutdown. It looked like Chuck Schumer was willing to shut the government down rather than take the vote on this.
Really?
Finally, at the very last minute, he capitulated, and every single Democrat in the United States Senate voted to continue to use taxpayer funding to charter planes to fly illegal immigrants here to the United States of America. 320,000 came in last year alone. These are immigrants that are being recruited in Cuba, in Haiti, in Venezuela, in Colombia. They're being flown directly in here over our border, so they don't have to cross our border. They're coming directly into 43 airports here in America. The Biden administration, of course, won't say which airports, but I can only imagine it will be blue cities, because what they're trying to do is backfill, because, again, every Democrat 2 weeks prior voted against my attempt to try to stop counting illegal migrants for the purposes of apportioning congressional districts and electoral votes. They want to keep counting these illegals.
They're not vetted. Nobody knows who they are.
No.
They could be criminals. They could be terrorists. They're not vetted. How did this begin? Wait, how do these flights work? Like, you got a flight from Venezuela, for example,
yes.
Okay? Now, who's financing? The U.S. government is sending a plane to do that? And they aren't telling anybody? You don't have to declare them?
No, we talked to a whistleblower who explained to us that their charter company has flown 80,000 just in the past 4 months alone.
That's incredible to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew these flights are happening, but I didn't realize it was the U.S. government. I thought maybe it was a private or NGO or something.
Well, the U.S. government is very adept at using these NGOs, almost like a money laundering machine, to basically hire these NGOs to do what the U.S. government doesn't want to get its fingerprints on. But make no mistake, Joe Biden is behind this. They're bringing 30,000 people a month in using their CBP app. They're doing this, they're recruiting these people in these local jurisdictions. And again, it was made evident right here in Brooklyn. A congresswoman here actually Chuck Schumer's old congressional district. And she said that she needed these illegal migrants to retain her district. She's worried about the outflow of people from New York. They're backfilling with these illegal migrants that they can then count for the purposes of allocating congressional districts and electoral votes.
Yeah, that's right. We've talked about that on the show. There was a court case in New York State, at least to stop the illegals from voting, although Democrats continue to push that point of view. But at least for the moment, the law or the court stepped in and said you can't vote. You ever talk to Trump about being vice president?
No.
You would be good. You'd be perfect. You have economic knowledge. You're a consultant, businessman in your private life. You're a great ambassador to Japan. You know foreign policy like the back of your hand.
Everything I've talked with President Trump about is winning in November. And I think he's well positioned to do that. It's amazing, though, how many times I have to explain to people from overseas what President Trump's policies really are, because the media are trying to paint this dystopian picture of some sort of chaos that would emerge. We are living in chaos right now with Joe Biden. There's no way this is a normal state of the United States of America. We need to go back to the policies that Trump put in place. President Trump got our economy moving strong. From a national security standpoint, our adversaries respected us, our adversaries feared us, and our allies decided it was best to stand with us, even if he had to press them, like in NATO, to step up to pull their weight. It worked. It happened, and we saw a much safer world. Now we have hot wars going on in 2 jurisdictions, more concerns from a national security standpoint than I think we could ever imagine. And all of this, thanks to Joe Biden, again, collapsing our border and doing everything he can to destroy our economy.
Whatever you say, I think you'd make a great vice president. I really do.
You're very kind.
I think you should be on the list. Listen to you, wrapping it right down. It's terrific. You might get a call sometime, Bill Hagerty. You never know.
You're very good.
I enjoyed working with you as a colleague.
I did too. You were a great partner, and you think about what we accomplished, particularly our trade deal that we got done with Japan, the highest standard digital trade deal that had ever been done, repositioning ourselves militarily so that we were able to push China out of the East China Sea and the South China Sea. Really, really remarkable what we did under President Trump.
All right, Senator Bill Hagerty, thank you. It's great to see you, especially on set.
Wonderful to be